Hello. Welcome to this week's episode of Emerge. I'm your host, Tiffany Boyle, and this week we will be discussing how to make the divine decision about patience and hear Deshana's 2 cents about finances. We are so excited to speak with our special guest, Dr. Lacretia Carroll, a talented and accomplished nursing professional and currently an assistant professor at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, College of Nursing, and also aids several political campaigns in Memphis, Tennessee. On the show, we will also speak with Asa Jackson, working artist and president/co-founder of Contemporary Art Network. And next, coming up, where you will get tips from the CEO Corner. I'm Tiffany Boyle in the CEO Corner. Bosses, people who say, I'm a boss. I'm talking directly to you. And I want to talk about how important it is for us to give back to our, let me repeat that, our community. And not just give back, but give back like a boss. First, let me give you a couple reasons why. 1, volunteering is self-rewarding. When we volunteer, it's like receiving an internal reward. It's a direct result of our activity or from the outcome of the volunteering that we do. 2, volunteering is helping others, right? Volunteers come in all shapes and sizes. You pick a cause, and as we all know, there are so many causes to choose from, and you make a difference in someone else's life. And I know as a CEO or leader in your organization that our time is limited, extremely limited. So we have to strategize and prioritize on how we're going to give back. So let me break it down. Identify your why, choose thoughtfully, spread the good, make your time count. And remember, please remember that you as the leader set a strong example. And I'm Tiffany Boyle, and my tip from the CEO Corner is give back like a boss. Now, we will be speaking with Dr. Lacretia Carroll, a talented and accomplished nursing professional and currently an assistant professor at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, College of Nursing. Dr. Carroll has a passion for improving health outcomes, decreasing health disparities, and improving health equity in marginalized communities. Dr. Carroll ties her passion for eliminating disparities with a passion for political progress. She has worked on several political campaigns and previously served as the regional director of the Black Caucus of Young Democrats of America and served as the treasurer of the Shelby County Democratic Party. She is a recent alumnus and now the program director of Leaders of Color Memphis, an initiative designed to elevate progressive Black and Latino leaders to public office. We welcome Dr. Lacretia Carroll.
Hello and welcome. It's such a pleasure and an honor to have you on the Emerge Radio Show. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Good morning. All is well. How are you? I am well. I am alive. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope that you all are doing well. Yeah, we are here.
We are here. We are here. So, you've heard Tiffany, our co-host, introduce you, and your bio is so amazing. Just tell us more about yourself. Like, let us in. What's been going on?
Oh, goodness. Where do I start? Okay. So the other people that don't know me, I am an assistant professor at the College of University of Tennessee Health Science Center. So I am a researcher. I call myself a social scientist and assistant professor. The research or my program of research focuses on health equity, health disparities, quality of life in marginalized communities and sexual and gender minorities, specifically those who are Black, who are trans, who are intersex. And so by day, I am a researcher. I hope to one day use my research to inform policy. By night, I also help with campaigns. I also train people, provide them the tools that they need to run for office or be civically engaged. When I'm not doing that, I'm with my fur baby or I'm working out or riding my bike. So yeah.
You gotta love
I am,
the fur babies, right?
Huh?
I say, gotta love the fur babies, right?
Yes. Yes. Got my fur baby.
so I am always intrigued when somebody, is into research. How do you even get into a field like that?
Well, there's a couple of nuances. So I've been a nurse for 11 years, and I knew at some point I wanted to do research. I just didn't know in what capacity. And so the PhD program, or PhD programs, period, it was kind of a segue for me with regard to research. I just decided that I wanted that to inform policy. So after being a nurse and providing bedside care beyond the bedside, it's like, all right, well, what else? Like, how else can I make a difference? And so the way to do that was research for me. Yeah. So, I mean, there's different pathways to specific types of research, but for me, it was like, in what other ways can I make a difference that's going to help somebody?
Awesome.
I think that's important for people to know, because when you hear like of a nurse, people always think of the action and not like the research behind it. So it's an interesting career path that's not widely talked about,
Mm-hmm.
When you say research, like what exactly do you do? Like, to me, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna go Google some stuff, and I know that's not what you do
at all. While Google and WebMDs have become powerful tools and sources of information, I am the person that is conducting the study behind the research that you read. And so currently, I look at lived experiences and drivers of mental health, drivers of stigma, and how that impacts your overall life. And so what that looks like is I'm talking to people, I'm interviewing them, I'm collecting that data to write a paper that people are reading about, to write the policy, or to inform, whatever is next. So yeah, you can look up, 99% of somebody has XYZ, or these are whatever, but I'm the person that's actually doing the steps and talking to people to inform those types of data.
So what I heard was, when I'm sick, don't Google or use WebMD. Reach out to Dr. Lacretia, because she's going to know what's going on. That's what I heard. That might not have been what you said, but that's exactly what I heard.
Right.
I mean, you can, or I can also provide a list of resources if you can't get in touch with me.
We're going to ask you to give out your social media information, so that everybody's going to start asking you instead of being I'm like a whole doctor from WebMD. I can diagnose myself and other people.
Listen, first of all, I'm not going to call anybody out of my family, but don't be like people. They be like, I saw this on XYZ, and then after they already diagnosed themselves, they send me a picture. Like, what is this?
That is too funny.
Just in talking with you this short time, I can tell you have so much passion for what you do. And I know you just wanted to do more outside of, the bedside care, which I think is absolutely amazing. What can you share with us about some of the projects you've worked on and the impact that's had in the community?
Oh, okay. So from a nursing or research, or just in general, so some of the things that I've done, I've also published a child's book for people with a specific disease. It's available on Amazon, and I didn't do it for profit at all. Like, it started out as a piece of my dissertation, and then I noticed like there weren't resources. There wasn't anything for kids. And as a pediatric nurse, like, that's my heart. And so I've done that by myself. But not only that, like, I've also served in other capacities. So I do quite a bit of community-based research, because I also believe that you can't fix a problem if you're not in close proximity, or you need to be in close proximity to the problem to understand. And so with that being said, some of the research that I do, I involve my community partners. I get like one-on-one, or, all that, like the one-on-one, that in person, that up close, that day-to-day experience. And so with that being said, I've been able to be on boards in my most recent and one of my most impactful boards right now, which crosses over between work and what I love to do, is a board that supports the LGBTQIA homeless youth. We were able to use the data to provide information so that we can get a homeless shelter built. And so the homeless shelter is now there. We are now in the process of providing wraparound services for youth. And by wraparound, I mean mental health, food, job, all of the things that you would need as a person, not just the health needs. So that's one project. Another project some other things I've been able to do in collaboration, not just by myself, in collaboration with other people, is like talk about and lobby for health policy. So what does it look like? Well, what does it mean to write your senator? What does it mean to spend a day at the Hill? What does it mean to like really push the things that are important or that impact marginalized communities in their lives? So those are just, a few things I've been able to do alongside some of my other colleagues.
Awesome. So if you all are just tuning in, this is the Emerge Radio Show. I'm your co-host, Deshana Kemp Garnett, here with Tiffany Boyle. We have the pleasure of sitting down with Dr. Lacretia Carroll this morning, and she is just sharing with us what it is she's doing and how she is making an impact into the community. Dr. Carroll has been a nurse, and she really just took that further, and she's now on the research side, and she's doing things to progress certain communities, and she's just doing an amazing job. So Dr. Lacretia, what other things have you been working on?
So I love research, and I also, I kind of made a segue into policy, but the other things that I also do and I'm a part of is I also help campaigns. I help people, I help train people to run for office or be more civically engaged, which takes up a lot of time because it takes up a lot of time because a lot of people don't understand the impact that being civically engaged or running for office and what those roles really look like. Other than that, that's my 24 hours in a day.
That takes up a lot of time.
That's the 24 hours in a day.
To help on political campaigns. I thank you for that because, like you said, a lot of people don't know. People just see the politician, right? They don't know the whole team that's behind the politician that's really making the change, the movement, making the whole thing work. And I really appreciate what you do for that part as far as like training people, teaching people. Everybody always thinks, elected official, but you got to learn how to be a campaign manager. You got to learn how to be a finance, the treasurer, volunteer coordinator. There's so many things involved, marketing. So where, can you let everyone know like where you do your political operative work?
Yes. So I am currently in Memphis, Tennessee. I have worked on a couple of campaigns. And for the people out there, my partner, my boo, my bae, if you're in the South, whatever, however you want to identify him. He has been through 2 campaigns and is currently running for governor of Tennessee, which is a Republican state. And so seeing him go from the first race was county commission. And so every state doesn't have a county commission. And I'll just give you a side piece. Memphis has a county and city government. So we have county commission and city council and a county mayor and a city mayor.
Oh my goodness.
While we have all those things, they're separate. I don't know. Questions that need answers. So for those who are listening, I don't have the answer to that. But what I will say, like you ran for county commission, and if you've run for office before, you know how hard it is the first time you run, especially when you run against a name. So he did not win his first race. The second race, shortly after that, he ran for city council for a super district, or in some states and some counties, it's called a member at large. So that encompasses half the city, but there's 3 seats. And so we went through that, successful, elected, won, And now he is currently running for governor, like I said, of the state of Tennessee. So outside of, having that firsthand experience, there's nothing like being a candidate. There's also nothing like being the person next to a candidate in a different role. I mean, you can be a campaign manager, which is great, but you also don't get the firsthand experience of being the partner or dating someone or married to someone who's also a candidate. So just having that firsthand experience and using that to also help other people.
So what is advice that you would give to a partner or a spouse of a candidate?
Ooh, that's a great question. One, communication is necessary. Communication is necessary. Like, have the talk before you decide to, run for any elected office, not only with your partner, but with your family, with your kids, because everything that you do as a candidate and or they do as a partner or a family member can impact both of y'all's lives. And so when you have a public facing life, you also have to be mindful that people can misconstrue or say what they want to because you are public facing. Is it an easy life? Not necessarily, but is it worth it? Yes. So I guess to answer your question, outside of communication and talking, the advice that I would give a partner or a family member is, it's going to be okay. Like, it's going to be okay. People are going to be people. Some people are not going to like you, and you have to be okay with people not liking you to deal with this job. Because when I say that, people can make up stuff all the time. People can, people can do things to purposefully like try to interrupt or, disrupt what you have. And so you have to be strong in who you are and know that's a part of it. So, I tell people all the time, it's going to be okay. Like, it's going to be okay. Communicate and know yourself and your partner or your husband, your wife. Yeah. Just know yourself.
Right. Knowing yourself is like super important. And like you said, everybody is going to have an opinion, and you got to know your purpose, why you're here, what your role is. So when people talk to me about it, and I'm like, I don't have a spouse or a partner, but when other people are getting into it and they're married or, have a girlfriend, I'm like, look, my one piece of advice that I've seen from the outside looking in is don't go to everything.
That is true. That is also true. On the campaign side, don't go to everything because that's not where your voters are.
Exactly.
That's not where your voters are. It's probably going to be the same politicals or the same people in the political circle that, yeah.
So, okay, let's circle back. You said you published a children's book. Did we say the name of the book? I don't remember the name of the book. And if you said it, let's just say it again.
No, I didn't. So the kids' book is called The CAH Wonder Club, and congenital adrenal hyperplasia it's a unique disease in that it's a genetic disorder that causes the body to produce too many hormones, whether that's androgen. And so for females, we know what too much androgen is like. Especially as you age or have any type of hormonal problem. But then on the flip side, for men, at a young age, androgen causes the bones to like grow too fast, and you have some other issues. So the book is called The CAH Wonder Club, and CAH stands for congenital adrenal hyperplasia. I mean, the book ain't deep. It's at a kid's reading level. And so the book basically breaks it down, the diagnosis down in a way that school age children can understand, but not only understand, but also understand what it's like to go to the doctor, what it means to not share that with your friends. But if you go to school, what happens?
Okay. So how was the process of writing the book, editing the book, actually getting it published from like a business standpoint? I know you said you didn't do it to make a profit, but you still had to understand like the business structure. So for other people who are listening, who might be thinking about writing a book or have done it, like what was the process for you? And then some tips that you could give them.
Okay. So like I said, as a researcher, one in a community-based participatory person, I started out just listening. Like I literally started out listening to the needs of families, watching, observing, not inserting myself. And that's how I was like, oh, well, they need a resource. Somebody needs something. And where do we start? And so outside of that, the process was like, okay, I know as a clinician and a researcher, I can get wordy. I can say things that, the layperson might not understand. And so I had to, one, think about what it is I wanted to say in a way that everybody can understand, especially a child. So I actually had a script. I wrote what I wanted to say. And I had a teacher. Read my information and help me with the language. And so after I got that part together, I was like, okay, do I want to self-publish? Do I want to go through a publisher? And then what does like the illustration part come in? Mm-hmm. What we know to be true is kids like pictures. Kids, teenagers, shoot, even adults. I mean, we every now and again, if you're not, if you're a visual learner, then you like pictures. And so what did that also look like? And what did I want my characters to look like? Right. I knew at the time that the book came out, superheroes was the hottest thing. Like it was a hot thing. And so I was like, all right, I want my characters to look like superheroes. So I got the language down. What do I want the pictures to look like? I want them to be superheroes. I want them to not embody like Marvel, because I am a Marvel fan. But I want them to embody strength. I want them to embody like power. I want them to embody. So if a kid looks at that, they too can feel that sense of, power. And so I found a publisher. And I know some people joke about Fiverr, but I found my publisher off of Fiverr. I sent the script and we had a lot of discussions about what that would look like. And I also wanted my characters to be brown. Not just because I'm Black, but representation matters. And so when you have a diverse range of people or characters that look like your children, then that matters. And so I wanted them to be diverse, and they are. So I found a publisher who aligned page by page with the script. So we went back and forth. And then I also had that same person to format my stuff. People don't talk about formatting, copywriting, IBN numbers, all that. They literally walked me through step by step what it looks like to self-publish. And the beauty of self-publishing is you can upload everything to Amazon and they print and ship for you. That's the beauty of when you do stuff by yourself. And they also format it for Kindle. Yes. Mm-hmm. And for Kindle and for audiobooks. Amazon does that for you. The only catch to self-publishing, and I think this might be true. No, I think this might be true if you go through a publisher, is that they take a percentage because they copy, print, do all the stuff for you. Right. But for a small fee, that saves me trips from going to FedEx or wherever I'm going to print. It saves me postage. It saves me the time. So I pay a little. I will pay for convenience, as people say.
Right.
All right. Talk about dropping jewels. We are Emerge Radio Show. I'm your host, Deshaina Kemp Garnett, along with co-host Tiffany Boyle. We are talking to Dr. Lacretia Carroll. If you are not at your desk right now with a pen, paper, pencil, and you missed all those jewels about how she went about printing her book and publishing it, I know you have missed out. So you might have questions. You might be wondering, how can I do what Dr. Lacretia has done? So Dr. Lacretia, can you share your website and your social media just in case people want to look for you and they have more questions?
Sure. So I am Dr. Cretia. I go by Dr. Cretia, for those that know me. So if you look up Dr. Cretia on Twitter, if you look me up on Instagram, you can find me. If not, if you still are a big Facebook person, I'm Lacretia, Lacretia Carroll, Carroll on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. I would say you can look me up on the research side at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center at Carroll, LCARROL 6 at uthsc.edu. I am working on my own personal branding and website, but I will share that when it happens.
Thank you. Yes, when that happens, let us know so we can share it on the show. So we are going to ask you one last question, and that is our signature question. What does the word emerge mean to you?
Oh, so when I hear emerge, it makes me think about my own personal journey in life. And it makes me think about the process of almost like a butterfly, like you go through certain phases in life. Some of those you have to go through by yourself. Some of them you are in a cocoon where can't nobody see your work. And then you come out, as the young people say, you pop out. So when I hear the word emerge, I hear a process of growth. I see a process of refinement, of just going through what you need to go through, of resilience, to become the person that you are. Emerge is a process to me. And who you are now might not be the person you are in tomorrow or in 5 years, but it's this constant iterative process of growth, development, change, acceptance. Yeah.
Thank you. I love that definition. I always like asking that question because everybody, has a different definition of what emerge means to them. So I appreciate that, the whole it's a process part. And that's what we love to talk about on this show. Where you started is not where you're going to end. And we're like, where are you right now? And where do you plan on going? So thank you. And Dr. Lacretia, it's been very nice to have you on the show, sharing all of the things that you do, from nurse research to political operative is what I keep calling you. Thank you so much. And all of it relates to giving back to our community and the benefit and well-being of us as people. So we really appreciate that.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm always available. I'm always willing to help. So thank you.
You have a mission. It's no collision. Hold the phone. Don't text. You're angling to be next. Brothers and sisters, you won't see it coming. You're off the road. Your life explodes. It's not worth it. Don't do it. You only think there's nothing to it. Put it down, hang up, pay attention to highway action. Behind the wheel, there is no such thing as a small distraction. Join the conversation at decidetodrive.org, a public service message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
Welcome to today's lottery drawing. And today's winning numbers are not yours, not yours, and another number that's not yours. And the final number is not yours.
When it comes to having money, don't rely on luck. Brew your own coffee at home instead of buying that latte. Brown bag it to work instead of ordering it. Go to feedthepig.org for more free ideas on how to save. Feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Gina Pemberton, president of the National Hampton Alumni Association. Our time is now. This is our moment to define what being a Hamptonian really means. At a time when the relevancy and impact of HBCUs is without question, it's absolutely critical that we all engage, work together, and give back to our home by the sea. Engaging as an alumnus means to join your local alumni chapter, mentor a current student, and donate regularly. Join your local alumni chapter now, logging on to NHAAINC.org. Keep Hampton's legacy strong for generations to come. Keeping you informed, we are Smooth 88.1 WHOV.
If there was ever a time to live united, it is now. Now is the time to speak with one voice, to build up, not tear down. It's time to join hands and live united against the problems that keep our communities from thriving. United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. Will you? Volunteer or donate now at unitedway.org.
This is a guided meditation on parenting. Take a deep breath in and let go of the time you and your son played basketball and you attempted to slam dunk. Or when you hit that piñata into your neighbor's yard. Let it go.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It's your girl Dorothea with Emerge. I'm really excited for our audience who's tuning in with me today to take a moment to emerge into your greatest potential by making a divine decision with Dorothea. Every living person inevitably operates and proceeds throughout the course of their life based upon a series of decisions. Whether it is a decision that you have made or one that was made for you, we can all agree that a choice, a decision, navigates us from one area of our lives into another. So let's take a minute to think about that. What is a decision? The dictionary defines it as a conclusion or resolution reached after consideration. And divine, that means excellence. So keeping those principles in mind, let's make the divine decision today to walk in patience. It has been said that patience is a virtue. I can definitely attest that when practiced in my life, it is proven to have been. It's a dispositional character trait that is sure to produce an amazing harvest in our lives. When we add patience, it helps us to subtract a lot of the stress and worrying that we experience at times when we have to wait on something or even someone. Patience teaches us to appreciate time. When I think about time, I look at it as the most precious commodity that we have. Both the rich and poor man have been given equal amounts. Time cannot be altered, nor bought or sold. It's an immeasurable asset that can sorrowfully be depleted when we don't apply the virtue of patience. The definition for patience is the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. This is such an important aspect to understand. The majority of the goals or desires we aspire to reach in life takes a different amount of time as well as different levels of perseverance. A delay in time or in the timeline of expectations that we have set for ourselves doesn't always mean a denial. Plainly put, a delay is not a denial. But if we allow our delay to be paired with patience, that delay can actually provide us the room we may need for further growth and discovery, to provide us with further revelation in our circumstances. This can only help us to be more prepared to face what it is that we're actually waiting for, what it is that we could use a little patience for. So what is it called to persevere? To navigate in an honorable manner and to work through the various emotions that will show up when we're being tested. Patience. Displaying patience in order to maintain our emotions maintain our attitudes and behaviors towards a matter while we're waiting. So to all the listeners out there, including this one who's speaking, make the divine decision to possess patience, knowing this decision will ultimately help to shape and create a path that reflects a light of excellence in our lives, one that shines patience onto those around us. I'm Dorothea Schuler with Emerge, and I challenge you, I challenge myself to make the decision today to emerge into your best life by possessing patience. Thank you. And this has been a divine decision with Dorothea.
Thank you so much, Dorothea, for sharing your divine decisions with us. I know we will all be trying to practice how to be more patient in our world. And now we are going to give the Emerge meaning of the show. And we want to thank Ronnie Joyner, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, for submitting her definition of what the word emerge means to her. She states, emerge to me means to become stronger and better in order to reach your highest potential. That's right, Miss Joyner. And you can follow her at Miss Joyner2U on Instagram. Thank you so much for telling us what the word emerge means to you. Up next, we will be speaking with Asa Jackson. He is a working artist and president and co-founder of the Contemporary Arts Network. The Arts Network's mission is to empower artists, patrons, and the community at large through the arts. We aim to advance arts education and its role in innovation through integrated education programs, collection building, publications, and exhibitions. He also lives in Newport News with his wife, Kira, and son, Oriah. And he is currently one of the youngest chairs appointed commissioner with the Virginia Commission for the Arts. We are here with Asa Jackson, a artist and a president and co-founder of the Contemporary Arts Network, which is a gem to the city of Newport News in Virginia. Asa, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? So what can I say? I guess you've already said I'm an artist. I'm also a curator. I kind of wear different hats and play different roles, I guess, within the arts community and the art world. I guess here locally in Hampton Roads, I serve on different arts organization boards or whatever, including Newport News Public Art Foundation and a few others. But also for the state of Virginia, I serve as chair of the Virginia Commission for the Arts. So I kind of get to see what the arts sort of looks like from a governmental role, dealing with policy making and grant making, but also from, sort of a gallerist role, maintaining brick and mortar by doing programming and sales. And also, from an artist mode, always creating work and looking for the next opportunity in the next show. So it's sort of an interesting perspective to have a lot of those different viewpoints in one. But I think it kind of lends itself to what we do as the Contemporary Arts Network. Just serving to be a resource for artists, helping, artists to develop within their craft and find sustainable career paths. So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Well, that's a lot in a nutshell. So let's do one by one, right? So what type of artist are you? And then how do you make a career out of being an artist?
Sure. So I'm a visual artist primarily. I've also dabbled in some recording and performing arts as well. But primarily I'm a visual artist. I think I would be probably most known or historically known for, doing large expressive oil paintings. But for the last 4 years or so, I have sort of emerged into the textile art space. So I've been doing a lot of like weaving and quilting and, making large scale textile assemblage pieces. So that has been of interest for me for the last couple of years.
Great.
I like how you threw that. You emerged into that. You catch that wordplay, Tiffany, because I caught that.
I did.
Well, it kind of happened like that. There's phases. I was actually living in Los Angeles at the time when I started experimenting with textiles in that way. So when I was living in Los Angeles from 2017 to 2018, I was sort of in a transitory living situation. So every few months I'd be kind of like moving to the next place. And it was hard to establish like a regular routine without having a permanent studio. So I just started to experiment in ways of art making that didn't require so much mess, but also I could just pack up what I was working on and move it whenever I needed to. So I had a sewing machine handy because I've been making clothes for a long time, since like high school. So I always kept fabrics and sewing machines handy. And so I just started experimenting with the same materials that I would use to make clothes. I just started making artwork out of it. And I spent that whole year sort of experimenting. And then in 2018, we moved back to Virginia, and I just started expanding that body of work. Started having some shows and stuff with the work over the last couple of years.
Wow, you sound like you are very multi-talented. So
I appreciate that.
How does one even like go into the field that you're in and setting up these events? Tell us what that journey has been like.
So I guess that's an interesting question, right? Because I think the arts are a little different than almost every other industry, right? When you think in terms of career paths and making a journey for oneself, making a sustainable pathway for oneself, right? So, a lot of artists may go through art school and different things like that. I actually I didn't go to art school. I was an avid art student in high school and middle school, elementary school, like that, taking art classes or whatever. But I actually art was in my family. My mom was an artist, and my brother made a lot of art growing up, and my grandfather was an artist and architect on my dad's side. And so there was always arts in and around, a lot of museum trips and stuff like that as a kid. But I think as I reached adulthood, it was a burning interest. I think it was around me enough, and I was studying enough in high school and early college that sort of art just started to take over, my interest ways. And then also late in high school, I started thinking of it as a career path, and just learning more about the art world, learning more about, different successful artists and sort of their own journeys. And it's interesting because everybody really has a unique pathways, but there are certain elements, I think, that are required for success, dealing with network, who your provenance, your backstory, who you're in association with, and sort of, your go-getter spirit. So, the journey is different for everybody, but I think, just figuring out what it is you're saying as an artist, and then finding an audience for it, whether it's, the traditional gallery way, or whether it's doing street art, or, finding your own locations that you can curate. There's a million and one pathways, but I think it's if you have something to say and you're making something, generally it's just about finding your audience, which comes with some trial and error,
Like trial and error, like everything else in life.
Yeah, exactly. I think for me, like when I was in high school, when I was in college, I was painting a ton. And then I think when my studio space got overrun with works, I started to get a real desire to start to show my work. So I just started going out in the community in Boston, meeting different people, meeting other artists, meeting different gallery owners or shop owners, just going to make conversation. That ended up in having a few, being invited into a couple of group shows in Boston. But then I guess that urge as a young man, 20, 21, 22 years old, I actually just went straight out into the street at one point, started doing graffiti, went through that whole process, got arrested a few times, the whole nine. And then actually teamed up with some of my buddies in college, because I at the same time, I've always been involved in arts. I've always sort of been a fairly social person. So I used to throw parties with some buddies and stuff and promote different parties and stuff back in college. So around my junior year, we ended up getting this like warehouse space, which was like my first creative space that I managed. So we used to do parties in there, but it also was like my studio during the day. And so that was sort of like the seed for what would later become 670 Gallery and eventually the Contemporary Arts Network.
Oh, wow. That's an amazing journey.
Well, thanks.
Are here on Emerge. I'm Tiffany Boyle with co-host Deshana Kemp Garnett. If you are just tuning in, we are speaking with Asa Jackson, artist and president and co-founder of the Contemporary Arts Network. So Asa, how does an artist go about valuing their artwork?
So valuing artwork is an interesting process, right? Like, it really has everything to do with this word called provenance, right? And I don't know if you all are familiar with the definition, but provenance is a word that basically means something's backstory, right? Like an object or a place or a thing, right? Its backstory. Like, how was it made? Where does it come from? Whose hands has it been through? You know, just as much information that can kind of give you a backstory or a place of origin of something, right? So as it pertains to artwork or an artist or a work of art, you know, certain questions like who made the work, when was it made, where was it made, why was it made, right? It's like a basis of questions. Then you can go into where was it shown in terms of what galleries, museums, what countries, what school of art does it come from? Who is it in association with in terms of galleries and in terms of who did the artist work with? Did the artist study under anybody or go to any art schools? Or, you know, there's a whole slew of questions that sort of give context to a work that unless you ask those questions, you just wouldn't know, right? So it's like, for an example, right? You take the Mona Lisa, you know, you can start to qualify what the Mona Lisa is by asking, you know, who made it, right? Leonardo da Vinci. When was it made, right? In the early Renaissance, right? Late 1400s, early 1500s. Then all the questions and all the details of history that are packed into 500 years that you know contribute to why, you know, almost every person on the planet knows it as a singular, you know, work of art today, almost 600 years later, is provenance. And every hand that work went through, every government that it went through, every king or queen, or every time that it was transacted, is a part of that history. And that's what lends itself to making it, you know, how expensive it is. And then that same sort of qualifying provenance is how you would also determine something from a brand new artist, right? It's like, okay, you're just starting out. Now we have to sort of put you in context to an emerging artist. Now we have to look at what style of work you're making. You know, how old you may be, you know, what your medium is, you know, what your scale is, how big or how small the work is, what your subject matter is, because those things might, you know, pertain more to somebody that doesn't already have a name. But to somebody that has a name, it may be something like, you know, what do your auction sales look like? You know, what do your gallery sales look like? What museums are you showing in right now? You know, it could be less about the subject matter of the work. So I know that's a loaded answer, but it's a lot of different ways to qualify and quantify, you know, the value of artwork.
I think it definitely gives people listening a different perspective. Who knew that it could get so deep? You know, so, you know, I definitely appreciate that answer. And I'm so glad Tiffany asked when you were talking, you kept saying artist. I'm like, well, what kind of art is it? You know, what kind of artist is he? Because we know artists can mean so many different things, you know. So, you know, I'm definitely enjoying this conversation with you today.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really no different than thinking about people, right? It's like you can look at somebody and you may see, you know, you may be able to maybe guess or guesstimate what their ethnic background is, or, you know, what type of culture they tap into based on how they dress. But unless you really start to ask those hard questions, like where they're from, how they grew up, their spirituality, their background, what they do as an occupation, you really don't know what you're looking at, right? And so that's no different than artwork,
Right. Right. I think that's what I love about art. It's like relative to everyone in your opinion and your thought process, but the artists like put their heart and soul into this painting and put it on display for the whole world to see and to judge, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that what you just said right there, Tiffany, really speaks to, at the deepest level, that speaks to the value of art, right? To think that, me as an artist, I can only make so much, things in my lifetime. And each one of those things is connected to me, is connected to my time, connected to my imagination, connected to my life force. And so, when you think of an artwork selling or being possessed by somebody else, you're really, sort of possessing or stewarding or owning a piece of somebody's life, right? A piece of history, a documentation of somebody's mark here on earth. And so what is that? How valuable can that be? That's really invaluable, right? Like, it's hard to really put a price to that.
Exactly. So tell us a little bit about Contemporary Art Network, where it's located, and all the facets that come with that.
Sure. So the Contemporary Arts Network is based here in Hampton Roads. We've had locations in Hampton, Newport News. We now have a satellite residency location in Baltimore. So we are basically steeped in artist development, arts education, and public programming. And we sort of set ourselves up or sort of seek to be a nexus of interconnectivity, right, within the arts, to sort of harbor sort of sustainable arts ecosystem. So when you think of an arts ecosystem, right, that may be consisting of artists, like of all genres, right, not just visual artists, but also musicians, performing artists, culinary artists, literary artists, film people, like the whole nine, right? Anybody who's involved in any type of arts. But then you think about those people being connected with each other, but then also how do those people find their potential client base and their potential appreciators? And so, we set up programming scenarios and physical locations to sort of be a connecting point for, said musician to find, the music appreciator that can appreciate their music, or said artist to find an audience, or, said filmmaker to find an audience. So we sort of create scenarios through public programming, artist development, different things like that, and placemaking to sort of bring these people together in different ways, and sort of be that sort of, I don't want to say middleman, but sort of connecting force almost within these different players in the arts economy.
Awesome. Well, I am Deshaina Kemp Garnett, and you are tuned into Emerge. We are here with co-host Tiffany Boyle, along with Asa Jackson, who is a working artist, as well as the president and co-founder of the Contemporary Arts Network. It has been such a pleasure talking to you. Now, for all our listeners out there, if they wanted to get in touch with you, learn more about the Contemporary Arts Network, where can they find you as far as your website and your social media?
Absolutely. So thecontemporaryartsnetwork.com is our website. That's, again, thecontemporaryartsnetwork.com, as well as on Instagram at Contemporary Arts Network, and also at CAN Foundation. The CAN Foundation is our partnering 501c3 that sort of does, most of the arts education and residency aspects. So you can find us there. Hit us up for any of your art needs, whether you're looking for art services, graphic designers, photographers, people to do DJ sets. We're connected with, each and every type of artists here in Hampton Roads and beyond. So, people contact us when they're looking for general things like murals, logos, whatever. And we place artists in different jobs and just act as that connecting force.
Awesome. So everybody, I've gone out there and I found them. It's very easy to find them on social media. So I'm following on Instagram. So make sure you do the same. Now, before we come to an end with this wonderful conversation, we have to ask our signature question, and that is, what does the word emerge mean to you?
Okay, emerge. Wow. So, it's a loaded word, right? To emerge as an artist, it means like, it could mean like to come into the light, you know what I mean? To not be underground anymore, but to be above ground. And I think that's what we're all sort of aiming to do to an extent, right? Is to make what we're doing more and more above ground, more and more accessible, and less occult, right? Less hidden from the world, less of a mystery. Dealing with the arts, so much of what we do is a mystery to your everyday person. So, sort of what we aim to do as the Contemporary Arts Network and the Camp Foundation is to demystify some of that nature of the art world. So yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I appreciate you having me. And definitely we're going to emerge out of hidden spaces.
That's right.
Sure.
We're going to emerge. Thank you so much, Asa, for being on the show and sharing with us all the great things that you do and a little bit about your journey. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Did you just look down at your phone? You did it again, didn't you? You're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel, and a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me, whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Can I have your attention for a moment? Listen. Did you hear that? That was the sound of cancer cells being eradicated with proton beam therapy. If caught in time, a cancer diagnosis does not have to be a death sentence. It doesn't have to be painful, and it doesn't have to subject you to the many side effects of traditional radiation. The Hampton University Proton Therapy Institute invites you to live your life and let us fight your cancer with the most precise cancer treatment available. And now that precision is even sharper thanks to the addition of pencil beam scanning. PBS has treated over 1,800 patients and is only available in select proton facilities in the U.S. The actual treatment lasts 2 minutes or less. Remember this sound. A healthy, normal life can be yours again, cancer-free. Find out how. Call the Hampton University Proton Therapy Institute at 877-251-6838 now.
I am Deshayna Kemp-Garnett, and it's time for my 2 cents. Tyler Gregory said it best. If you don't take care of your credit is not going to take care of you. Credit in this day and time is everything. I mean, having and maintaining a good credit score is vital to your financial power, both business and personal. So exactly what does credit do? Like, why is it so important? It's important because credit allows you to borrow money to buy something today with the understanding that you're going to be paying for it later with interest in most cases. When you use credit correctly, you can do so many things. It can actually help save you money, help you in emergencies, and open the door to new financial possibilities. Your credit score is your financial reputation. Think about it. What exactly do you want your financial reputation to say about you? I'm Deshayna Kemp-Garnett, and that's my 2 cents. Let's take a look at our local and regional activities. Ladies Around the Globe presents Ladies Around the Gym Fab and Fit Night on April 20th from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at Butch Fitness in Hampton, Virginia. It is a wellness experience like no other. Visit ladiesaroundtheglobe.com for more information. May 7th, there's still time to purchase your ticket to Bel Air Brunch, hosted by Future Outlook Group. This is a great event at the Botanical Gardens in Norfolk, Virginia. Visit Bel Air Brunch BA on Instagram for more information. We want to say thank you to all the guests on Emerge Radio Show today. If you missed out on today's show, visit our website, www.emergethemagazine.com.